everyone, welcome back for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Today we're talking about a subject that is so very important for dogs that are reactive or sensitive, fearful or anxious to people visiting their home, and that is their safe space. Today we're going to be diving deep into what a safe space is and how to set one up or create one for your dog right inside your own home. Does it sound like it could be helpful for you? Well, stay tuned and we'll jump right into it. Have you got your hands on our free beginner's guide to dog reactivity yet? If you and your dog need a refresher, or if you aren't sure where to start with your sensitive dog, check the link in the description to get your free copy today. This guide will help you to help your dog be more successful around other dogs, strangers, riding in the car, and more. Be sure to head to the description and click on the link today. So let's first talk about what kind of a dog would benefit from a safe space. If your dog barks excessively when people come to your home to visit or drop things off, or if your dog maybe barks, lunges, growls, or even tries to nip or snap at people that come to visit, or if your dog is overly friendly with the people that visit your home, whether it's people that they love and they are familiar with, and they like to jump all over them, and it can just be a little chaotic when you have visitors over, then your dog is the perfect candidate for a safe space. So, what is a safe space? Well, as the name implies, it is a space that your dog feels safe in, but it also accomplishes a lot of things for us. When we have people to our home, what happens is we generally know there's someone coming. We generally know who it is, hopefully, and we can anticipate that and prepare. When I have people over, I run around and tidy my house. I vacuum, which I'm not very good at or do very often. I do, I prepare. I get myself ready. I conserve energy. I make sure I have snacks. My dog has no way to prepare. They don't know that people are coming over. I can't say, hey, just so you know, Auntie and Uncle are coming over this afternoon. They don't understand that. So, what we can do is provide them with a sense of predictability by setting them up with a safe space. The other thing a safe space does is it gives your dog an opportunity to think through the chaotic excitement or the nervous energy that they're dealing with when someone comes to the home. If you allow your dog to greet someone right at that threshold, right when they open the door, if your dog is right there and gets to say hello right away, they're going to be making decisions in a split second. And your dog isn't trained for that. They're not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. I don't even like to make a decision when I have time to think about it. Like selecting a movie that Jake's been telling me about for weeks. I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch that or Schitt's Creek. I can't pick. Decisions are hard. So let's take that opportunity away so that your dog doesn't have to make a decision right away at the door. Am I going to bark? Am I going to jump? Am I going to bite? Am I going to feel safe? Am I going to be nervous? Is this person going to scare me? How am I going to respond? Nope. Don't worry about it. I've got it for you. So, a safe space can be your dog's crate if they're crate trained. It can be a separate room of the house. It can be just behind a baby gate. What you decide to use for your dog will largely depend on your situation. If your dog just jumps on people and desperately wants to say hello, then having them behind a baby gate may be sufficient. If your dog has the potential or has bitten somebody, then you're going to want more than just a baby gate. I usually recommend 2 lines of safety anytime there's a dog in the home with a potential to bite or a bite history. So 2 lines of safety could just be a closed door and a crate. So crate in a room behind a closed door, or it could be a crate behind a baby gate. It could be a baby gate in the hallway leading up to where the bedroom is and that door being closed. Because the thing is that something is probably going to fail. The door is going to swing open. If it's anything like my bedroom door, you look at it wrong and it pops open. And Piper knows that. So when we have people over, she's in the bedroom behind the bedroom door and there's a baby gate up. And sometimes I have a second gate depending on who comes over because you can't always trust your guests. Am I right? Let's not name any names. But we want to make sure we have those extra lines of protection so that our dog stays safe and our friends and family can feel safe as well. So we can have a crate, a baby gate, or a closed door. Now, if your dog is really fearful, I recommend having them as far away from that main entry point as possible. So even though a crate may be a safe space for your dog, if your crate is really close to your main entryway, they're not going to be feeling safe there. And for a safe space to really work, your dog needs to feel safe in that location. So, I live in a very small apartment. My front door is about 4 feet that way, and my bedroom's like 6 feet that way. That's the furthest they can be. So that's why Piper goes in our bedroom, because that's as far away as she could possibly be. And that will give her as much safety as I can, provide for her in this environment. So if you have 2 levels, your dog maybe should be upstairs. If you have a really small house, then as far away as you can. And if you can only do a baby gate, you can't do a closed door, maybe you do a baby gate with a sheet over it so that eye contact is avoided between your guest and the dog, okay? So there's a lot of options to consider. If you have any questions about what's right for your dog, tell me in the comments. I'll make sure to chat with you so we can figure out and problem solve what would be best for you. So we've talked about why a dog would need a safe space. We talked about the different kinds of safe spaces. So let's spend some time talking about how we teach a dog to feel safe there. The first way is with food enrichment. So we teach our dogs to feel safe and confident to occupy themselves with a food toy. This could be a lick mat, a Kong, it could be a snuffle mat, any type of occupying toy that your dog can self-reward when they interact with. So you can start with them in their safe space with this food toy for 5 minutes and then let them out. You can slowly increase the time. The other ways that we make this space safe is by making sure we're advocating for the dog when they're in this space. So, for example, my kitchen sink is on the way to my bedroom door, and that's where Piper is. It's my kitchen is basically my hallway, but anyway, I digress. So when I have friends over, if they want to use the sink, I ask them to wait so I can make sure I'm in the hallway setting Piper up for success. Because if I let someone approach her in her safe space without a heads up, she's not going to feel safe there. So we have to advocate for the dog's space, even when they're in a safe space, especially with certain guests. Now, if you have a second floor, that might not be necessary, but if you have kids to the home, then you want to make sure you're doing your best to be aware of who's going where and making sure that there's no potential for error when that's happening. So we've got advocating for the space. We talked about, some food occupier toys, and the rest is really individual. For some dogs, I like to play a calming music or soundtrack, but some dogs don't really like music. Some dogs just want to listen to talk radio. My dogs like Tibetan meditation music, and honestly, I do too, so it works out for us. What we've done with that is when our dogs are asleep on the couch like they are now, we'll play that calming music. So they create an association between downtime and that sound. So then we can use that to almost cue a state of calm when they're not actually calm and we're trying to help them feel calm. So you can play music. You can also spray pheromones. So there is a daptil. I'll link this in the description below. This is a pheromone that you can either spray in the room before you put them in there, or it's like a Glade style plug-in that will diffuse into the room that can help a dog feel a greater sense of ease. Doesn't work for all dogs, but if it's in the budget, I say go for it. Why not? The thing about this is I usually prefer the room spray over the diffuser or the collar because then you can just use it as needed and it'll last you a bit longer. For some dogs, a thunder shirt is a great way to go when they're in that safe space. It'll help them feel really relaxed and comfortable. But again, you're going to want to test it with your dog. They might not like it. Neither of my dogs enjoyed the thunder shirt, but lots of my clients' dogs really love their thunder shirts. Now, you're going to want to make sure that your dog is comfortable here. So their dog bed, they should have water. They should have any toy that they like, blankets that are familiar. It should feel really at home to them. So if you're just putting them in a bathroom and their things aren't in that bathroom, then you're going to want to take some time to set it up. So when you use it, when you practice it, your dog feels comfortable and like it is just a place that they normally would spend some downtime in. Okay, so it really depends on the dog. Some dogs have a toy or a stuffy that they can't part with. That should be with them. Some dogs won't eat when they're by themselves, and so we have to teach them to really be comfortable with that before we try it in the safe space. And some dogs, like I said, won't want relaxing or classical music. Instead, they'll want talk radio, or maybe you just have to run a fan so you have some sound going to drown out some of the more obvious sounds of a person being in your home. Now, if you've stuck around to the end, oh, this is a really important part, okay? Now, nobody got a dog so we could stash them away in their bedroom, right? That's not why you have a dog. They're companions, they're supposed to be with us. But if you want your dog to really feel safe in their safe space, you can't just put your dog there when you have people to your home. So if you have people over and that's the only time they go to their safe space, they're going to be feeling isolated and like it's not normal. And in fact, it will cause them stress instead of providing them with rest, which is what they need. What I challenge you to do is to practice this almost, if not every day of the week. Now, you don't have to practice it for hours. In fact, you could practice it for 5 minutes one day, 15 minutes another day, an hour another day, 2 minutes another day. Okay. So it can be intermittent with how long your dog stays in that space, but you should practice it regularly and consistently so that it becomes a normal part of your dog's routine and it isn't something that causes them stress. And the final thing I'll say about this is that when someone knocks at your door or rings your doorbell, that's not the time to put your dog in the safe space. The time to put your dog in their safe space is about 5 minutes before your guest arrives. I know that's kind of inconvenient because we don't all have the Life 360 app where we can track our friends and family. But what I would urge you to do, especially if you have a dog who is reactive and fearful, is have your guests and friends call you just to give you a heads up, even if it's just a minute or two before they pull down your driveway, or even if they just only call you when they pull in your driveway. They should just give you a heads up before they approach your door because that's really going to set your dog off and that'll be difficult for them to relax into after the fact. Okay? If you have any questions or thoughts about your dog's safe space, tell me in the comments below. I'd love to chat more about it. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Reactive Dog Chats. Tell your dog I said hi, be sure to give them a treat from me, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye for now.